Ms. Hinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Mr. Secretary, again. I want to talk now a little bit about taxpayer money because I'm hearing again from Iowans on a regular basis. They're appalled by this mishandling of what's happened at the border and the resources that they send, their hard-earned paychecks. They care about what is happening with those dollars, as do I, and I hope you do too, and we share that. So yesterday afternoon, you published this memo, right, this plan, and I want to point specifically to page 11 in what you write there, which is DHS is currently determining which federal agencies can provide support through an interagency agreement. And this is concerning to me. We've heard that the administration is considering removing healthcare providers from the VA, for example, doctors and nurses whose taxpayer dollars and their intent is to help care for our veterans. So my question to you today is, yes or no answer, is the Department of Homeland Security planning to reallocate resources, doctors and nurses from our VA system intended to care for our veterans to help care for illegal immigrants at our southern border?
Congresswoman, let me be clear, because an interagency effort is precisely what the challenge of migration requires, and it's not specific to 2022, nor 2021, nor 2020, or the years preceding.
Right, but I'm just asking you a yes or no question.
Oh.
Are you planning on taking resources away from our veterans to help deal with the surge at our southern border? That's a yes or no question.
Actually, Congresswoman, the resources that the medical personnel from the Veterans Administration would allocate to this effort is under the judgment of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, who prioritizes the interests of veterans above all others for very noble and correct reasons.
Do you know if have you had any conversations about reallocating those resources?
I have not personally, but of course our teams, our personnel have, and I'd be very pleased to follow up with you.
Yeah, our veterans need to know that the care that they've earned is going to be provided to them and not to those at our southern border.
That is
the other
what
thing
the
I'd like to
entire-
ask you about, Mr.
If I
Secretary.
may, that is what the entire Veterans Administration is dedicated to do. And we have worked with the Veterans Administration not only in addressing this challenge, but in actually addressing the cares and needs of those veterans who also have been experiencing the immigrant experience in the United States. We have people who have served in our military before even being naturalized. And so we work very closely to care for the needs of veterans in our country.
Okay, well, I would expect an answer specifically as to whether or not you intend to take those resources from our veterans, because they're asking us those questions and they deserve to have an answer from us specifically. The other thing I want to talk about is taxpayer money that Congress has appropriated. This is a picture from our southern border of taxpayer money sitting and rusting. This is probably good American steel, should have been used to fill the gaps in the wall that, in your memo, you mentioned are being exploited by the cartels right now. So do you have anything to say to the taxpayers about this right here, these pieces of steel sitting there rusting when we have this crisis at our southern border? How much has halting the wall construction cost American taxpayers because they're having to divert those resources to handle the surge?
Congresswoman, as I articulated earlier in this hearing, we have an obligation to spend the monies that Congress has appropriated for the wall. The way in which we are doing that is to achieve the safety and security of the American people, and to do so in a responsible way. We are also spending money addressing infirmities in the wall that was built. We're seeing corrosion and other failings. So it's a very complex picture.
This is corrosion right here, and this has driven people between the point of entries to the hands of the cartels, in your own words. So I think this is, to taxpayers, they see this as a huge slap in the face, to see these pieces sitting there that could be used to actually deter people from coming into these into our country, not at the points of entry. The last question I had specifically is about the illegals that are coming into the interior and how they're being transported here. How much does transporting migrants into the homeland cost our taxpayers right now, and are they still being flown into our country?
Congresswoman, individuals who are transported from the point of encounter to detention are transported in different ways. They are transported from a border patrol facility to an ICE detention facility. They are transported.
But they're also being flown into places like Iowa.
If I may, Congresswoman, they are also flown to their countries of origin when they have been removed and their claims for relief have failed. I would be pleased to provide you with the specific numbers, the expenses of the administration of our immigration system, and the laws that we are obligated to honor, which we do.
I want to know how much you're spending to come into the country and not to return them to other countries. Thank you.